What's up, sports fans? I come to you today in a new location. We're back home for the break, so that's exciting stuff, I guess. Um, and got a special guest here. Isn't that exciting? Look there. Yeah, yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? Um, but yeah. From the title of this video, you can probably tell that things didn't really work out, right? But I'll get into it deeper. I'm gonna preface this by saying that I went into the conversation knowing I should probably remember what happened, but my memory is really bad. Like it's generationally bad. I don't know why or how, but let's just say I forgot some stuff. But I have the general picture just to help shape your imagination for this. So don't worry, I'll still provide enough context for you to get as depressed about this as I am. But yeah, so where we left off, right? If you didn't watch the other video, I implore you to, because it's vital for all the context here. But yeah, partner uses AI on final paper. I find out what happens next will shock you. So yeah, basically, update. Um, on the day it was supposed to be due, right? It was a Monday. Uh, I was still working on the paper. I told my partner, whatever, like, oh yeah, I'll finish up the essay on that day, like guaranteed. Like I won't turn it in late. Don't worry. But I asked them for some help. So I said, I was doing a lot of the paper, right? Getting the citations, writing it out like as an actual paper, which takes time. If you've ever written an essay before, which I hope you have, if you're watching this. Um, so yeah, uh, I was going through the motions, and I asked them for some help writing the last bit in an effort, right? In an effort to get them to just write it out, right? Just just a Hail Mary, just to make sure that they're not totally a lost cause. Um, but in doing so, right? I don't know what I was expecting. Uh, they said, "Yeah, sure, I'll help out." And then like 5 minutes later, they poop out 7 paragraphs. Um, when I only asked for like a couple, right? I only wanted a couple because I didn't need that much help, right? I was getting kind of close to finishing. And so, yeah, 5 minutes later, the 7 paragraphs just magically appear on the paper. Now, in what universe, right, would I, as a person, believe that they wrote that out in 5 minutes? No universe. There's no sane explanation, um, that for how they achieved that many paragraphs in that short of a time. And so I just tell them, I didn't say, yeah, I know you're using AI. I just said, oh yeah, could you actually just write two kind of long paragraphs about the last part of the topic? Because you're kind of just writing all over the place here. Like you're covering stuff I already covered. Like it's kind of random. And they're like, okay. And then they delete all of it, all of their hard work. I mean, 7 paragraphs isn't anything light, let me tell you. But yeah, they just delete it without a second thought. And 2 minutes later, two kind of large paragraphs. They both take up like maybe a page and a little bit, which I'm talking about when I say a large paragraph, I mean like I wanted a paragraph that's almost a page long, like three-fourths of a page, like what I was writing. Because when you're writing about a topic, you have to go in depth, especially if it's a final paper. So I was kind of expecting something more, even from the AI, right? Like you're kind of just getting so lazy that you're not even type or writing out like good long paragraphs or prompting good long paragraphs. You're kind of just like, write this in 2 paragraphs. Anyways, yeah, they just plopped two more on there and called it a day. They're like, yes, I finished writing them. No, you did not write. Like, you could have just said, yeah, I'm finished or something, some shit like that. But no, I'm done writing them. You wrote them. Yes, you vile person. But anyways, of course, I end up deleting it and then writing my own shit and finishing the paper by myself. Little did I know that even though it was supposed to be due that day, he didn't put up the assignment on the site we were using to turn it in, and it turns out he wanted it on Friday instead. So he gave us like a 4-day extension, which would have been nice to know, but doesn't know how to operate his email either. So I just stressed out a bunch for that for nothing, even though it was finals week or season, and I could have benefited on knowing that there was an extension so I could study more. But whatever. An extension is an extension. Not that I had touched the paper after I finished it on Monday, because you think I'm putting any more effort into something that should have taken half the effort? No, 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 no. You got me messed up if you think I'm doing that. So yeah, the final day of classes, right? And this is my last class. This is my very last class. It was at like 5 p.m. Like this class takes place, which is kind of late in the day, but I digress. So yeah, that class happens, and we do a short presentation about our topic. We had to make some slides. Um, it was only 3 slides. It was a really short presentation about what we changed from our original prospectus, is what we called it. So original paper that was like way shorter than our actual final paper. It was like just showing what our ideas were, and showing what we changed for the final paper. And it's kind of hard to show what you changed when you just AI generate everything, because nothing really changes except you could have just said, "Oh, I wrote a longer prompt," or "I prompted the AI to write more," or something despicable like that. But that'd be outing yourself. So anyways, uh, she makes the slides, and she wasn't paying attention in class, I guess, when he said it, because she just generated a bunch of hoopla on the slides, and not what we're supposed to be writing about. So I told her, "Oh, yeah, this is not what we're supposed to be doing." And she's like, "Okay, you can make the slides and send them to me." And I was like, "Sure, I will." And so I make the slides. I make my slide, right? It's only 3 slides long. I was even down to do the introduction slide. So all had to do was present one slide. I'll present two. I made my own slide to present, and I told her, "You can make your own slide to present." I think that's fair, right? You get prep time to practice what you're going to present on your slide, instead of us fumbling to see who's going to present like our other presentation. So I think that was totally fair. And so I make my slide. I put the points on that I want to include, that I can talk about in length if I wanted to. And I should have done the last slide, because I did the middle slide, because doing the middle slide means that you don't know how long she's going to present for, because you're supposed to reach 5 minutes. So if she did present for like a tiny amount of time, at least if I had the last slide, I could just kind of filler my way through it. But because I ended before her, I couldn't like add on anything to her slide. And of course, she AI generates her slides. So whoop de doo. So presentation day comes, going back to the present, or present. I guess it's in the past now. But yeah. So we're presenting, right? I get off in a good groove, because I was practicing. It's normal to practice before you present, so you know what you're saying. Funny concept, especially with the presentation so short. It was like my part was around 2 minutes, because I was aiming for a little more, but around the ballpark, because I didn't want to take all the time away from my partner, because we're supposed to split up the work evenly, right? So yeah, I finished presenting my part, passing off to her. Prepping her for the alley oop. She's up in the air. She's getting ready to dunk, and she throws out of bounds, because tell me why. She just reads off her slides without elaborating on anything, and it's just a bunch of gibberish that AI generated. And she doesn't elaborate. It takes like 20 seconds. It's supposed to take 2 minutes, by the way. No, in 20 seconds, she's like, no elaboration for the audience. And the one saving grace is that she did not sound like she didn't know what she was saying. Pretty good stuff, I know. She didn't sound incomprehensible. You could actually tell what she was saying. Granted, she was reading off of the slide wholly and completely. It wasn't even making eye contact with the audience, but baby steps, I guess. Baby steps. I think this person's gonna do like business or something. I think she's at the start of the year. I don't know about that one. If you can't really talk to little groups of people, then it might be a little cooked. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of the like saga with them as a person. I did not see them after class ever again. I did not contact them after class ever again. They didn't do the same with me, thank God. And I plan on not doing that. And if I do see them in public, I'll have to like restrain myself or something before I lash out. Um, but yeah, I'm completely done with this person. Uh, such a vile, deplorable person. I hope nothing but the worst for them. But so the stuff she pulled on Monday when I was writing the paper, when she was throwing in shit on the essay blatantly and trying to trick me into thinking that she wrote it, it made me a little mad. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it got to me. And usually I'm good with this stuff, and I said I wouldn't snitch, and I'm usually not. Okay, but this is an extenuating, is that a word? Something like that. It's a circumstance in which I feel like it was justified for me to tell the professor that I had to end up doing all the freaking work for the final paper. I think that was totally within my rights. So after class, I do the due diligence of waiting until everyone else is out of the class. Everyone's saying their goodbyes to the professor because it's the last day, and stuff like, "Oh yeah, this class really changed my perspective of life." Like, yeah, yeah, good for you. I need to tell the professor something important, so I'm waiting for everyone to go through. Um, And then when everyone leaves the class, he goes to me. He's like, "Hey, Jonathan, I'm gonna miss you." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, actually, I have something to add." And so he guides me over to like the board or something, and he starts talking about how I could improve my writing from the prospectus paper that she partially AI generated. That like I humanly worked on it, but she AI generated it, which I wasn't sure about at the time. And he started talking about how I could improve my writing. And I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to bring up the fact that it might be AI written. Novel concept, I know. And so I tell him, oh yeah, about that. I'm pretty sure my partner used AI in that. And he's like, oh yes, yes, I knew it. Like it was pretty obvious. And I was like, I wish I would have known. But yeah, so I tell him that, and there's some conversation, there's some wishy-washy here and there, but I remember him saying, "I don't actually mind if you use partial AI on this." We're in a college, right? We're in an institution of learning and development, right, Cooper? Right? We care about our learning. And I know it sounds crazy from the guy that, you know, that is like online a lot of the time, but I do my work. But saying that it's okay to offload some of your work to an AI model that writes horrendously, it's so blatantly obvious. Wish I would have known back then, but it's so obvious. And saying it's okay with it. And this is an English class. This is like a writing requirement class. The only reason I took this class. It's a writing requirement class. You're saying it's okay to use it. Bollocks, absolute bollocks. Oh my days. This just vile stuff all around. Um, Not saying the professor is vile. I actually like the professor a lot. I think he was a nice guy, but that that set me off immediately. Like in my head, I wasn't like going ballistic in person or anything, but it's just like maybe I'm in the wrong, but I really don't think acceptable to use that kind of stuff. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Part of me thought it was kind of justifying my partner's use of it, like, or like mitigating my like anger towards it, even though I think it was totally justified that I expect my partner to do something for the project. But regardless, we keep conversating, right? He's like, I tell him I wrote the entire final paper myself because my partner wouldn't put in any effort. And he's like, no, no, it's supposed to be a group project. Like, you're supposed to, I wanted you guys to work together. Cooper, are you, Cooper, are you getting this right now? He said it's a group project and we should be working together. Ooh, chills, chills, chills. But like, actually be serious. Are we serious? I told him I gave her multiple opportunities to work on the project. Multiple. I was communicative. I told her what I wanted her to do, and she still didn't do it. Ain't that right, Cooper? Ain't that right? But yeah. Um, where was I going? Sorry. Oh yeah, he said he sounded really like upset. He's like, okay, and just for context, in class, right? I sit in the corner, kind of, and there's a chair in between, and then my partner sits there, and there isn't really any. Why are you looking at my hand, bro? There isn't like any reason that happened. It was just the seating arrangement we had before we were partners for the project. Like I just sat in the corner, she sat a seat away. Um, and he's like, "Oh, this is probably this is probably why you guys didn't sit together in class." We the class was whole class discussions like 90% of the time anyways. It wouldn't have mattered if I sat next to her. And you think I'd want to? Well, I guess he's kind of right there. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have any contact with this vile goblin. Okay, just give me away. Just give me away. But yeah, I don't. It sounded like it was a completely random thing to bring up. Like, oh yeah, this is why you guys didn't sit together in class. This is not important. This is not integral to the fact that my partner used AI. Anyways, um, we're still just kind of talking about it, and it looked like he was going. He was like making his way to the folder to give me a copy of the prospectus that we turned in. You know, the original essay, like the mini essay. It looked like he was going to hand me a copy with some annotations or something on it, like corrections. I don't need those. I know how to write. Please, please. I don't need help writing. I know how to write. It's my partner that needs help, not me. I didn't come to you for help. I just came to you to tell you. And thank God he couldn't find it because I would have gotten a little mad if he just handed me the annotated copy of the AI written or half AI written, half normal shit, and it was like all the AI parts highlighted, and it was like, this doesn't make any sense here. Like, yes, no shit, it doesn't make any sense there. Oh my God. But yeah, that that really peeved me off a bit because and then he told me I could come to office hours for help writing. I don't need help. I don't need help writing. Can you please, can you please just understand that I'm telling you my partner was using AI on the final project for this class that is worth 25% of our grade. Can you just take that to heart? Can you internalize it, please? That's all I want you to do. I don't need help. But yeah, I mean, we just it was like the main base of the discussion was just that kind of stuff. I said I could show you the evidence if you want, because I had evidence of her like I used a website to verify that she was using ChatGPT responses, and I screenshotted them. And he's like, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine. I feel like any other professor in any other class in this institution would have been like, yes, show me the evidence. I told him that she was trying to AI generate the figures that or for the appendix that we were gonna attach. And I wanted to show him some of that shit because I showed you last video, but that shit was so hilariously bad. But you know, he didn't give a shit. He was just like, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. And you know, all this isn't that bad, right? Like this is probably not warranting a this there are no happy endings or whatever. I'm gonna title this. But he didn't talk about punishment or consequences once. He did not bring them up once. And I genuinely think, genuinely think that he will give her the same grade I get. Like I 95% sure, which is good odds. Trust me, it's good odds. Um, that there won't be any consequences. That she'll get the same grade I do, and it's gonna be like a B or something because I tried my best. But you know, when you don't have a partner to work on a group project, it's kind of rough. Which it just makes me a bit upset. Is all because I feel like you, as a professor, right? I know you love your students and whatever in this smaller class than like a lecture hall, but you have to put your foot down. You have to kind of encourage your students to use their thoughts, you know, their creativity to write papers instead of AI. And when you don't do that, you just kind of encourage the behavior for future classes. And I think that's wrong, right? I think that's just a normal thing for a teacher to do, just to say or to tell me at least, oh yeah, I will, you know, I will darker grade a bit or something like that for not for using AI throughout the project or not helping you at all. Because in any like genuinely in every other class that I've had a group project in, there's always a feedback form where they're like, how much work did you do? How much work did your partner do? What if you could give your partner a grade? What would it be? Not in this class, I guess. I guess that's just beyond it. But yeah, that's just what happened. I didn't want to keep this video going too long here, but I just felt like kind of peeved off is all. But I mean, I'm glad the class is over. It's done and done. I just wish I had a better partner, I guess. And if I ever have a class with her again, I might just drop it because I don't want to interact with her again. And I had some people tell me that I should tell her off. I should text her, "I know what you did," or some shit like that. And as vindicative as that would feel, I don't think that's a good idea because I think if I did do that, she'd probably try harder to cover up her tracks and still try to use AI because she's a lazy ass bum. But I digress. It's through and through. Um, One more thing I need to say about this class, though. It's not the story. The saga's not over yet. Still a bit more to go. Right, Cooper? Yeah. Um. Sorry, I just started checking the time. Um. Yeah. So the final. He was talking about the final, right? And he said it would be an essay, like a longer essay, that would take around 3 hours to complete, and he'd release it a week before, or around a week before it was due on Thursday. Um. So when was that? Today's Monday. Sunday, Saturday, Friday. Okay, 4 days ago. Sure. Um, but yeah, he said he'd release the prompt so we could write the essay during the exam period so that we wouldn't have to just like rush it at a certain point. We'd have a long period of time to write it. And I was like, okay, that doesn't sound bad. I've had to write an essay for a final exam before or final project. Like it could definitely be worse. So tell me why that for days and days, right? It was from last Thursday or the Thursday before Thursday to Friday to Saturday to Sunday to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. Zilch. Nada. No prompt released. And I was starting to get worried. I was like, there's no way he's going to release it the day of, right? That'd be diabolical, especially since I'm traveling home that day and I need to pack up and stuff. That'd be the worst timing ever. And so, um, I work I worked the Wednesday night, right? And I come back home and check my email because I was religiously checking my email to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And turns out he released a completely different final exam. The one that he hyped up and said would be the final exam. Nope, not not that final exam. But the new one, of course, didn't take as long to complete. Thank goodness. But it wasn't like a full-fledged essay or anything. But it's still disingenuous to just say that it's gonna be one thing for like final exams are final. Like they are very cutthroat here. So if you change it for no reason, I feel like this is wrong without any warning or anything. No email because he doesn't use his email. No announcement, like nothing. It's just all of a sudden it appears in your inbox, and it's just something completely different from what you're expecting. I don't know. I want to believe in the guy. He's not a bad guy. Like he's like a nice guy, but he's not a good teacher. I will wholeheartedly say he's not a good professor. Um, and his class is okay. If I had a good partner, it would probably be more enjoyable. That's all I'm gonna say. And if he actually did something about my partner, then it would be more enjoyable. But as it stands, no, I wouldn't recommend taking the class. I'm not gonna air out what class it is, but just know that there's some classes out there that you should keep your eyes out for and avoid like the plague. I finished the exam, of course. Like I'm already done with all my stuff. I'm living free right now. I'm enjoying my life. Christmas is soon, although I might release another video because I'm bored as hell. Before Christmas, so I wish you a Merry Christmas then. But yeah, I just thank you. Just wanted to update on that scenario, situation, what have you. And yeah, my life is a movie, I guess. shit. I'm not gonna edit this video. What am I doing? Why am I doing that shit? Okay, sorry. Goodbye. Peace out. See you next time. Whatever, what have you.